Hi everyone, this is Jenny Nandu and I'm a psychologist. Today we have an amazing actor with us, Darsheel Safary from Taare Zameen Par, and I'm so excited to have a conversation with him about his journey and what it is to be like an actor and having a film around mental health back in the time when mental health was not such a big thing.
Thank you for having me here.
Yes, thank you for coming. So what I know of you is so warm and so humble. It's an amazing vibe to be around you. Although
Thank
I
you.
know you for very less
Right.
amount of time, but this gives me this vibe.
Thank you.
How was your experience doing Taare Zameen Par?
We shot the film in 2006, and my experience, I mean, I remember a lot in detail as to how normally people would remember something that took place 17 years back. That's because it had such an impact on me. I was an extremely curious kid, very mischievous as well. I didn't understand anything that was happening on set, but I was having a blast. I was running around and I mean, there used to be situations where I was very fascinated with the walkie-talkie. So I used to steal my the AD's walkie-talkie, and I used to hide myself, and then just to make an activity out of it. As a child, you're drawn to these things, you want to fidget.
Yeah.
So I remember sitting with the our sound person a lot because he had like this entire setup of all these equipments, and he had this Apple laptop, and I was very fascinated with that. I used to try
Wow.
and play games. I didn't know how to play, but it was a fixation I had there. Um, as I grew and as I got closer to my art and acting and got stronger with my determination as to why I want to do this, I started understanding what was happening on that set. You won't believe this, but till today, that teaches me. So if I mean, it's a life changing moment. I mean, calling that a life changing moment would be like an understatement because
Wow.
it has shaped me whoever I am today.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also, it sort of fostered the curiosity, with so many things to fidget around and play around and just like be yourself as a
Oh,
child
totally.
when you could have had so much. But at that age, what I'm curious to know, even today when I get clients, for me to refer them to what LD looks like, I would still say Taare Zameen Par. Or even when people would come up and say that, oh, वैसा वाला problem hai. So now it's still being spoken about. But back in time, it was, I think Taare Zameen Par became the identity around LD in our country.
Yes.
How was that, for you when you were a child? You understood little about mental health per se, but how did your friends and family take it?
There was nothing called mental health for me back then. I was just in the happiest health possible because, yes, I was definitely briefed about what dyslexia meant. The thing is that it's such a वो कहते हैं ना, वो sly, it's a sly thing because people, it's very difficult to recognize that you have dyslexia. They'll think that, and specifically in children, they'll be like, okay, the kid's lazy or the kid's just being mischievous or
Yeah.
tough to handle.
Yeah.
So to deal with something like that and to add that amount of believability was what I think I'm very lucky to be a part of because I was definitely briefed about what dyslexia was, and I was like, okay, I was trying to identify where I have dyslexia. I thought that because it comes in different ways. There's dyscalculia, there's a lot of
True,
other things,
dysgraphia.
dysgraphia as well, and a lot of things. So I used to think that I have some dyslexia in Hindi because I couldn't identify which matras to put. Till today I can't.
Same.
I had to write a letter. I was recently shooting in Kashmir. I was supposed to write a letter in Hindi. I won't say what I was writing, but I couldn't put the matras right. Even the oohs and the eyes,
Yeah.
it's just,
I think
I don't understand
that's
the
a
logic.
confusion that
And
we
people
all
look
have.
at me in the most judgmental way, ki, acha. Because I've already played a dyslexic character. So they're like, acha, is he actually like this? So then I'm like, no, just in Hindi, like it's a little tough for me.
Yeah.
So I used to think like that, and then they used to just say one sentence to me on set. It used to be like, remove the worst handwriting possible.
Mm.
You can be as creative as possible. Write your B's ulta and C's seedha and whatever you want to do. And I was very happy because I had the worst handwriting, and people used to always tell me that improve your handwriting, and this was where I could be myself or be who I want to be. So all my frustration
That
came
free
out there.
space.
Yes, it was a
Yeah.
free space, and yeah, so it's great. It raised awareness. In fact, there was something called LD quota that was introduced,
Yeah.
where in exams kids could
Have a
um,
writer for
have a
themselves.
writer for themselves. So I had my friends who got LD quota, and they used to brag about it that we don't have to write our papers, and I used to be like, yes guys, that's because of me. So
Yeah.
so this is how yeah, I mean it's a great thing, and I feel that whenever I meet people who've seen the film as recently as a couple of weeks back, in fact last week rather, they always thank me about the issue it's raised and how it's created closeness with their family.
True.
Now, initially, if you remember, when someone doesn't know it's dyslexia and they think that the kid's being funny or annoying, they would send the kid to boarding school or yell at the kid. So that would create a distance in that relationship.
True.
And here they got the opportunity to think further. They got a chance to identify if there's a disease or something. Because when it's a family, you realize you have some problem or sort something where you need
Yeah.
support. You get closer.
True.
So it also brought a lot of families closer, and a lot of like they say that we're going to send our kids to boarding school. You won't believe this. I was going to be sent to boarding school,
Oh.
which very weirdly I was looking forward to because, as I told you, I was curious. I didn't know this, and my parents also said that okay, Darsheel, you got saved. You've been a good boy. You've worked well, and I think we won't want you to go to boarding school because they realized how much they would miss me, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, these are the few things. And I've recently done some films, and I'm trying to match that goal as to
Yeah.
that sort of an impact, along with the entertainment value as well.
Taare Zameen Par just as a film has created so much of social impact and awareness and an area around that it's okay to speak. I think that's one of the most important
Yeah.
aspects. Like today, people don't shy from saying that it's an LD.
Yes, and I think it's a first step, which is like people used to be scared of saying anything.
True.
Not just learning disability, but I have personally experienced this where you're facing some issue or some form of something else, unless it's not physical. I mean, it's a mental thing. They would not want to share it.
Yeah, very true.
And this film began that. Possibly a lot of films before that also was trying to do that, but this film on a bigger level because it connected with the audience well.
Yeah.
And that's how that led to a lot of people expressing, saying, okay, I need help,
Yeah.
or possibly this person needs help.
Yeah.
The attention shifted to mental health.
True.
And it's the need of the hour. I mean,
But you did a fab job by acting on point. I mean, at no point could anyone say that you weren't, really having LD. It
No.
was just so perfect.
No, it was. The thing is, I got lucky, frankly. I had Amol Gupte sir, who has I don't know how many years of research for kids. I'm around kids, how they behave, what they do for this film. He's the writer of the film, the script, the screenplay. He's also the creative director of the film. I'll be honest with you, handling a child is not easy. Uh, and then when it comes to me, it's a different level of difficult. But yes, when I watched the film today at this age, I'm like, wow, they extracted so much. And there were so many times where the cameras were rolling and I didn't know about it. It's all about getting that right mood, the realism behind a certain shot. So, like when I was punished outside the school in the film, they asked me, what would you do? I was like, nothing. And they're like, okay, you're punished now. Let's see what you can do. And I was like, okay, fine. So I was roaming around, whatever I was doing. The camera was recording and they ended up putting some parts of that in the film. So
So it was
you'll
really
see the
realistic
people
as well.
around are the reason why an actor, till today, I believe this, that it's all on the atmosphere an actor gets on set. Because there's so much pressure and so much, worry and stress and all that is happening. And then you see the performance.
Yeah.
That's how difficult it is. And then if you're given an atmosphere to express, like I was very lucky and very fortunate to have in my first film, and then you see the performance. So there's a lot related up here for an actor,
Yeah.
and I was very fortunate to receive it.
So coming to the current situation that you are in, the current life that you're living, how difficult it is to be in a field where it is so unstable and you don't
Oh.
know. I think to be an actor is glamorous and is amazing, but at the same time, it has a lot of.
No, the first thing, frankly, I thought of when I had to decide if I want to be an actor or no, which was 5 years after the film came out, was would I continue acting if there was no fame involved. So I was like, yeah, of course. But inside, I was definitely having a different answer because, of course, it's the fame. Of course, it's the attention. Then I was like, okay, would I not do if the money was not involved? And then I was like, no, no, of course, I would continue. But inside, of course, there's a different answer.
Yeah.
This always happens, because these are the two biggest driving factors for you as an actor, because of the amount of attention and everything. But now, to use it in the right format. But a lot of the social life
True, and also
goes.
at that time when you're on your prime,
Yeah,
it's a
it's
different
not
ball
just
game.
prime. It's not just that way, but it's like you miss out on these small moments. People meet to play cricket or
Yeah.
something. You can't really be there because then the distraction, the attention
Yeah.
changes. So I said, I'm gonna get into college. I'm gonna enjoy my college life. I'm gonna get a girlfriend and things like that. So I moved into college, and then I was just reading on what acting is all about. So I still till today, if you'll see I keep reading a lot about the film industry and films coming out, acting, interviews, performances. So I was reading at that time, and then I got a call from, I don't know what alignment I was in, and I got a call from NCPA,
Okay.
and
Wow.
they offered me a play with absolute stalwarts like Dalip Tahil sir and Anant Mahadevan sir, who are like doing theatre since 30, 40 years. And I was like, what are you all doing with me? But that began my journey in theatre. So it's it's all throughout, there's some connection with the audience. So I learned a lot from that. And you keep learning forever. You never stop learning there. Because I used to think I've stopped learning, I've become the king of theatre when I entered NCPA. But then my first performance was the worst in life. And I realized that, okay, this is what it actually means. It took me time to understand, it took me a year or so to understand what theatre is, what is this learning attitude, and all these things. And then the pandemic hits, and then you're thinking all over again as to what you're doing in life, coming to your unstable part. Because acting is it's more mental than it looks,
Yeah.
honestly.
I think to get into each character, becoming that character, leaving
Yes.
your identity somewhere, it's a lot of mental work, right?
It's absolute. I mean, when they talk about method acting, see, some people say it doesn't exist, some people say it exists. It's all on your resolve, frankly. So I learned how to get into character through theatre. Uh, of course, I got more understanding about my audience and a lot of other things, script writing, storytelling, what a good script means, what a good story means, because you're seeing an audience react live, so you know this is working, this is not working.
True.
And then the pandemic hit, and then I was thinking, okay, what are we gonna do? And people around me were very supportive. My family was supporting me well, and I was thinking that, okay, you possibly get to do one film a year or so, or two films a year. But then what? You're sitting at home,
Yeah.
and
I think that's the silence, and that part is the most
for a theater
hardest
actor,
part.
you can go insane because of that. Because imagine one moment you're performing in front of 4,000 people
Yeah.
reacting to you, and one moment you're in your room alone. And
It's
so,
difficult, especially when you have work and the whole buzz around like 1 2 months where you're constantly working on a film or
yes,
on a play, and then suddenly 2 3 months you don't have anything.
yes.
To kill that time is killing.
So I always encouraged for anyone in life who's being an actor specifically or any other form, to use this time in whatever way possible. So what I started doing was I started engrossing myself in writing. I started engrossing myself in any new project I take up, designing a certain curriculum for a college or focusing on just working on my physical health, getting to gym, trying to get into that routine schedule, living that life, watching a lot of films. Time goes quickly when you do these things because I love to do these
Yeah.
things. I've taken the initiative to do these things.
Right.
So as recently as, like, I'll be honest with you, since 2021 Jan, I've been shooting non-stop, touch wood. It's happening. Every film I'm shooting, and then after a gap of a month or so, there's another shoot, small shoot, big shoot, this shoot, that shoot.
Work is happening.
So it's happening. But then when you're surrounded by work, and then when that gap comes, the gap feels longer.
Yeah. True. So how do you manage your mental health? I'm specifically saying mental health because it's a lot involved, right?
Yeah.
I mean, physically you can be in a lot of places, but you're still the same person.
Yeah.
Whether you're busy, whether you're not busy, and how do you look at that?
See, it's for an actor, it's a different ball game. Honestly, you have to completely let go of your inhibitions.
Yeah.
You cannot even have a sense of self. Even if I'm sitting in front of you, you can now come and tell me that, okay, Darsheel, I think you're the worst person I've met. They can't differentiate between an actor and a person also sometimes. I've had absolute strangers come and tell me things which I've not expected from them in not a very positive light. And then I've had absolute, even people who are close to me come and say this. Now imagine you don't expect this coming from people who are close to you. How would you react to that? You can't break the relation there.
Yeah.
But this is your job.
Yeah. So also to
You
take criticism, like positive,
it's not just
negative.
criticism, it's about taking judgment.
Yeah.
You've signed up to be judged.
True. Oh yeah, that's a different
And to be
angle.
judged not only on what film you're doing, on how much your film is earning, on what shots are in your film, but also on who you are as a person.
Personal life.
Because then they're going to look into um, what kind of a person is he? Acha, he lives alone, or what does he do? How is his family? A lot of these
They want to know about your
questions
personal
come
life.
which a normal person would not accept.
True.
So, for an actor, you have to firstly let go of that completely. It's out. You cannot.
So that's what they say.
You'll
right?
not be able to survive. I'll be
Yeah.
very honest with you. Something will die inside you if that little inhibition also stays. So your self-esteem and everything has to be for yourself alone.
True. That's why I say that your private life is not just your own. I mean, once you become an
gone.
actor, it's completely
Forget it.
over. It's
Yes.
public now. Everything, like the media is behind.
And the step one here is to accept it.
Yeah.
If you've accepted it, it's fine. I've accepted it, so I feel more at peace in life. Like I'm looking at it in that way that, okay, fine, this is what is supposed to happen. And this is somewhere at the end of the day, if people are judging you so much, you're motivated to be a better person. You're motivated to really be that because fakeness can stand only till a certain level. You won't be able to do it for more. So I was like, fine then, this is a good drive to be in life. Your goal is to be a better person. And then I was like, fine, fair enough. And all of this happens through a massive amount of introspection. And there's a lot of thought that goes in
A lot of
this.
self-work.
There's an insane
Constant
amount of self-work, and
self-work.
there'll be the world coming to tell you, do this, do that, do this, do that. You'll go to all the motivational speakers and you'll go online and like how possibly most of our audiences will be watching us right now is what I would do as an actor as well. I'd be watching, okay, what do you talk about mental health? And pandemic was a big hit because it hit, I mean, I meant a hit not in a positive light because what happened is theatre got pushed back. We had like 70 or 80 odd shows planned, which got cancelled. Now imagine you're in that rotation of life, and then suddenly it stops. And then first you're like, okay, fine, I need the break. And then you're like, okay, what's happening? I'm missing the stage. It's your passion, but also it's your livelihood, the money you're making, a lot of other things. And then you're thinking, okay, life is gonna be like this. It's always gonna be ups and downs. How do you deal with this? It's only through your inner work. It's only through your if you're at peace inside, things will move superbly well. I mean, then I realized that, okay, fine, I'm more than comfortable into doing selective work, doing possibly one film a year and spending the next 7-8 months of just working on myself.
Yeah, because what you're inside is going to show on your work.
That's what.
If you're agitated,
if you're
it's
happy
going to come.
inside, you're going to look happy.
Yeah.
You're going to glow different. You're going to look different.
Yeah.
So I was more than satisfied with doing that. Of course, I would love to do 5 films a year with, different topics and getting to express myself. I would love to. I would prefer not going home. So it comes on, I mean, answering your initial question is the dealing with the instability is coming on how you personally think about it and how you choose to act upon it. If you don't act upon it, just keep thinking about it, it's going to take a toll on you someday or the other. So
what is your mental health mantra?
There's no mental health mantra I have. This is that keep yourself as happy as possible. This is the need of the hour. Times have not been very forgiving of late due to the pandemic and a lot of other things. I've shot so much and things are still coming out. I have to be patient about it. Okay, this is when it'll come. People will be seeing this because there's questions surrounding you. It's not just your own questions with yourself.
Yeah,
I'm thinking, okay, Darsheel,
lot of
what are your
pressure.
levels of what is your standard of being a successful person and or a happy person for the matter of fact. And then there's questions surrounding you. People are asking you, okay, Darsheel, when's your film coming? We've not seen you since a long time. And I'm like, yeah, it's coming, guys. It's happening. It's happening. So you have to deal with it by
Right,
yourself.
right.
And at the same time, you have to keep yourself happy and not fall into a slightly bad mindset there.
True.
Like, say, for example, I would really suggest this to anyone who was watching us or listening to us is that find your happy spots, and that has to be personal. Like, for me, my happy spot, for example, is I love to go on walks. I have these specific places where I keep to go, and I love eating chaat. So when I'm walking, I make sure that there's some nice chaat person, and I go and have some pani puri or something, and I feel amazing after that. I put my earphones on and I'm walking and I'm introspecting and thinking and just absorbing everything around me. It's my happy space. I feel good after that. It's an immediate mood changer for me. For some people, it can be listening to music. For some people, it can be making music. For some people, it can be helping other people. Find your
Yeah.
happy spot. So that way, when you know you're not feeling good, you can immediately go there, express yourself, and then feel better.
Yeah, I was just to ask you what you do to feel happy, and you answered it.
Sorry, I
No, that's
talk too
good.
much. It's
That's
just
good.
habit, you know.
You're just making my
the-
job easy.
No, it's not about job easier. You're just being nice, frankly. But the thing is that I've had people who are like, yes, okay, Darsheel, once you're done, let me know. I can ask you the next question. So I have this habit of talking too much. But yeah, if I stop myself, I
Yeah.
think I have fun. You all can then cut
Yeah.
it out or something.
Yeah. No, it's good. I think everything that you've mentioned is very nice.
But I do think that, I mean, as a discussion factor, because I think you're into the field of psychology and mental health as such, it's it's not just like a half an hour discussion.
Absolutely.
It's a half a day discussion, possibly, or even more. I don't know because I mean, it's not just. I mean, for me as an actor, I'm elastic, but there are people who are not elastic. They're born and brought up in a different way, and I feel that what needs to happen here is mm, a lot of acceptance needs to come first.
True.
And I feel it's a good sign because a lot of people have started to accept, specifically after the pandemic, about their mental health and identifying it. I mean, you would be the best to be talking about this as to how people are coming to you and samne se telling you that, this is what I'm feeling, ma'am, and this is what is happening. And that's the change of the hour. That's the transition that we are facing right now, which is very good because trust me, that's some form of self-awareness of understanding, okay, I'm not feeling good. So we keep having these discussions here and there. There are problems in everyone's life
True.
to that extent, and more so in lives of people who are more private.
Yeah.
It looks like okay, they're living a protective life, but that's not true at all.
Now, one just question that I want to ask. So, we believe in a lot of self work as therapists. So, as a therapist, I myself take therapy, and I believe it's important that every 6 months, I go see someone so that everything that's done or
So you go
that's,
to a psychologist as well?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a thing, right?
I
Every
thought that's just
therapist.
shown in movies.
No, every therapist has a therapist.
Wow,
Right?
that's so good.
And I believe that it's important to work after every 6 months. Let's say I don't have something active right now, I would still go take a session. And after 6 months, I would still go take a session because a lot has happened in those 6 months, right?
You
A lot of,
absorbed so much.
yeah, you absorb so much. A lot of happens in your personal life. And so, when I specialize in marriage counseling, it's not that my marriage is perfect. Even I may
Right.
have ups and downs.
Absolutely.
And so when it's on me, it can be foggy.
Yeah.
If I'm seeing that for another, I can see it clearly.
Right.
So in any strata of life, it's just important to seek help. What is your opinion on therapy and taking therapy? Have you taken therapy, or have you considered, or have you seen somebody taking therapy?
I have. In fact, I've encouraged this to a lot of people as to see, frankly, I don't know if I'm being too blunt in saying this, but therapy is just expression. You are
Absolutely.
finding that space where I've had very close people to my life, very, very like blood close people to my life who've taken therapy or still taking therapy. And I'm just happy because you're getting to express. Just
Yeah.
talk it out. You see how much I'm talking? That's what you're supposed to do. I mean, of course, seeing the right time. This is where I'm supposed to talk. You can't keep talking anywhere and everywhere. You're at a conference and you start talking, people are going to lose interest.
Yeah.
So you need to see the time, of course, but then you need to find that spot. I always believe that you need to have that outer link in your body. There's an inner link, definitely, where you're absorbing everything. And you being a psychologist, you've absorbed, I don't know how to put this, but you've absorbed everything from the worst to the worst.
That's one way to see it. Yeah.
But also so much insight into how people are thinking and how you need to put a stop to you thinking about those people.
True.
You
Yeah.
know,
That dissociation from the
you
event.
have to. It's the same
It's
for us
important.
as actors. We have to dissociate from the characters we're playing. I played a character on
Absolutely.
mental health a year back. The film is called Ho Jamuk. I'm playing a character of Vikram, and to get into the skin of the character, there was 1 month of we had these acting sessions where I was told to get into the character by feeling that, but not showing that.
That's insane.
Now they asked me to remember my worst memories. I was like, okay, and they're like, it's not worse enough. Let's create worse memories. And I was like, okay. And then I was whatever um, in character, getting in the form of a character, and was given these situations, not real ones. And I was asked to be in those situations and really feel, and I would automatically start crying. I felt I needed therapy after that film.
Yeah, it must have been so heavy, right? Because creating something that's not your own and then making it your own.
And then I'll tell you, because now there has to be a limit here, because now on screen, people, if you don't see people, acting is all about expression. You don't see expressions, you'll be like, "Ye acting ka kar rahe, to chup, he's blank." So now you'll think, okay, is he acting or what's happening? So we reach there. And then after that film after we completed shooting, the second wave of the pandemic came. So I got into some other spiral in my head. I was like, yaar, what is happening? Will this film ever come out? Iska post-production hoga? What will I do next? Again, we are back to square one. Things are just moving forward. And I gave myself some therapy. This is what I did. I mean, I was like, okay, I'm going to surround myself with things I love to do. I ate like a lion. I listened to music. I gained weight. I was watching films. I was just like hitting myself with stuff that, okay, get out of this, work it out, and stuff that I love to do. I didn't force myself. If I didn't want to listen to music, there were days where I didn't listen to music.
Yeah.
So I give myself this. But now there are some people who are not able to. They're not able to even sometimes
That was
identify.
your coping mechanism and you figured that out for yourself.
That's
and it
because
worked.
I've had 16, 17 years of this experience of self-work. I mean, of somewhere or the other introspecting, ki, haan, acha, main kya kar raha hu? That's why I was able to identify. It was still tough for me. Now imagine people who don't have time. Imagine now school se seedha, you finished college and then you've got into business and you've not had this self-work time.
Yeah.
And then now imagine you're going through this thing which you don't even know what's happening with you, and you're just feeling low all of a sudden. You imagine you're with your best friends and you're not feeling that good there. That's the worst feeling possible. Imagine you're with a loved one and you're not feeling fulfilled there. And you know the person for the last 5 years. Imagine how you feel. I mean, it's the worst feeling possible. And then what needs to happen at those moments is you need to firstly accept your feeling. Then you need to work on it. You need to see, okay, what do I do? This is a certain change. Okay, I'm seeing a pattern in my life. What do I do? So you observe. And then after observing and being aware about it, you start working on it.
You talk like a therapist. Welcome to my world.
Oh God, no, talk to any actor. Okay, I'm guessing you're gonna meet a lot of actors, and I hope you do. Talk to them, and they're gonna give you something very similar, because you have to. It's difficult to survive in today's situation where you're putting pressure on yourself, but along with the fact that people are putting pressure on yourself.
True.
So you need to find your way out. And I think, therapy I would highly encourage, as long it can be even with your family. I mean, just go and talk to your friends, family, just talk, just share what you feel. However worse you're feeling, however petty it feels, that, okay, I don't like this cup, for example, I love it. But I was just saying that I don't like the cup. I might as well just go and call my best friend and be like, okay, you know what, I didn't like the cup.
Yeah.
Or tell yourself this and accept it. Some people have that. So expressing is some way or the other. Like I said, my close friends and a lot of people in my life are learning how to do this, and I'm trying to push this as much as possible. That, guys, y'all need to share things,
That's
let it out, find that out link in your body, so you don't get suppressed.
Yeah,
Because
you don't
I
get
told you
stuffed.
before we started that I feel that the root cause of any mental issue or any mental unhappiness you're facing is suppressed. You're not able to express a certain thing or anything. So I feel if you have like a sinkhole or whatever in your body, it's gonna go out. You know, just
Yeah.
flush it out, man. And I mean, it's not that easy. Find your path. I mean, it must be sounding very hollow the way I'm saying it, but yes, it's not easy.
Yeah,
But find
absolutely.
it.
All right. Thank you so
Bhashan,
much.
Bhashan complete. You're welcome to my TED talk.
I think we're all going to have fun listening
Yes,
to this, and it was very
100%.
insightful.
Yes.
And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.